right, welcome to another song title challenge where the question is, climbers, how would you write this one? This is where climbers, the listeners to this podcast, send in their song titles. You can send in as many as you want to info@daredevilproduction.com. Production is singular. There is no S. info@daredevilproduction.com. Put song title challenge in the subject line. And then I spring them live to Brent on the podcast, and we try to mimic what happens in the first 15 minutes of a pro write, where we take the title and we try to find 4 or 5 different conceptual ways to write the lyrics before we just start writing the lyrics. Sometimes the most obvious way, often the most obvious way, is not the cleverest way.
That's right.
that you can do. This is not a co-write in any way, shape, or form. It's a creative, fun exercise where it'll really revive life into your hook book. No matter how old it is, if you go back through titles that you've put in your hook book that are a few years old and do this song title challenge to it, commit 15 minutes of your life to it, you might come up with some really great ways to all of a sudden get excited again about that title, right?
Heck yeah, it's worked for me.
Anything you want to add to that?
This is for edutainment. We want to inspire you, educate you. We'd nominate you if you could. I don't know what that means, but it rhymes. So this is to encourage you to dig deeper into your titles, and hopefully there's some gold in there. So let's do it.
All right. So this one here is from, it looks like Joel, but it's spelled Joe-Al, which is weird. It just has this A, like a capital A, Joal, Joel Tralco. And the song title is The Best Day I Never Had.
Okay.
The Best Day I Never Had.
Writing that down. Best day I never had. So thank you, Joel, Joal, Joel. How is Krypton these days? So, all right, The Best Day I Never Had. That's an interesting title. So it definitely evokes some thoughts immediately of this guy looking with regret of the things he didn't do. Like, I didn't ask her to marry me, and I can just see it now. That was the best day I never had. Or maybe you're at her wedding. You're like, that's the best day I never had. You know, She wanted kids and I didn't want to have kids. And now looking back on it, man, holding my baby for the first time, that's the best day I never had. I mean, it seems like a lot of regret is kind of built into that title, which is tough. That's hard. Who wants to hear that 7 times before they become subconsciously aware of it or whatever, as we talked about in another podcast. So that's a tough one. I mean, you could definitely write that, right? Looking back on things you didn't do and going, man, that could have led to some of my best stuff. I guess another way to spin it might be bad stuff that didn't happen, and it's so good that it didn't happen. I think that's more of a reach to make it make sense, but like, hey, that time I didn't go drinking and driving with my buddies and wrap my car around a tree, that's the best day I never had. Because I didn't have that day, so it ended up being a good day, that the bad thing didn't happen, but it's more of a mind twist, you know?
Oh, it could be a double mind twist because maybe you have survivor's regret because it did happen.
It could be.
Whoa.
Yeah. The best day I never had.
Agent there.
You're giving the listener some homework there, you know, and I'm trying to keep things simple. I was in a co-write last night, and the artist and producer were talking about some interview. I think it was a Max Martin thing. They're reading some interviews with Max Martin, and he said basically some of his biggest songs were written like on a 3rd grade level. Yeah. Like his biggest songs. And he's like, I looked him up and son of a gun, 3rd grade level. And so the whole joke that night was one of us throw out a line on and be like, that's a little 5th grade. And just trying to keep it all super simple. That doesn't mean simplistic. Like the song we wrote last night is not simplistic. It's not juvenile, but we're just trying to lay out these thoughts in a very simple way, which is good for commercial music. Other niches and stuff, you may want to get, people want that exercise, you know?
Right.
But in general, I try not to do that. So how do you do this and keeping it simple? Yet you also want it to be kind of positive, because my job here is trying to figure out maybe some ways we can make it commercially competitive.
I got a way.
These titles. All right, what's your way, Johnny?
So lyrically, it's about what goes on inside a guy's mind when he just sees the most beautiful woman ever. And he starts fantasizing about what their lives are going to look like moving forward, you know?
Yeah, it's kind of like that's the best day we haven't had yet.
Yeah, but you can still use it in the best day I never had.
Yeah, that's the best day I never had.
And all those things would be in there, right? Like the wedding, the kids, the big house, the white picket fence. And it could be like super positive and super moral fabric of the South, country music-ish. Like, I'm going to take the best care of you, and I'm going to be there when our daughter scrapes her knee or gets her first breakup, or
it just goes back to looking back on a day I did not have. I guess one way to be I don't want that. I don't want that to be the best day I never had. Ooh. Like, I want to be with you and I want to make this work because I don't want to look back on the best day I never had. So it's a little twisty, but it's looking at it from a positive going, girl, I want to work this out with you. Mm-hmm. That way I don't want to look back on the best day I never had. So it's a little backwards way of saying it, but that's kind of built into the title.
It's like the Smokey and the Bandit double negative. We ain't never not made it yet, have we?
Exactly.
It might be a triple negative.
Right, never not yet. Yes.
We ain't never not made it.
Never not yet.
Have we?
I don't know. Exactly. You don't want to do that too much in your songs.
Because I know that you know that I know that you know what the song is about.
I'm lost. So what's zip code am I in right now? So that could be a thing. Like, girl, we're on the ropes. We're trying to figure out whether or not we're going to pull this thing out of this nosedive that this relationship is in. But I want to do it because when we were saying our vows in front of the church and your daddy and your mom are crying and I'm trying not to tear up and I get to lift your veil, kind of whatever kind of imagery you use. And I don't want to look back and have it be the best day I never had. Like when we get married, I don't want it to be the best day I never had. When we hold our kids, I don't want that to be the best day I never had. I want this to work. I want to have that day. You got to have to do your homework to make sure that when it lands like a ton of bricks on the listener and they don't go, what? So they're not confused. Yeah. Uh-huh. But if you do the work, that could be cool. I mean, what are you saying to the girl? Like, I want to be with you forever and that'd be the best day of my life. I don't want to miss that with you. Yeah. So it's very positive, but it's coming from a place like, are we going to make it or not? Or it could maybe not even have that kind of negativity. Maybe just be this girl that you're jamming with and this is awesome. And so far, it's the best day I've ever had, but I'm looking forward to the best day I never had yet kind of thing.
Oh, I got another one.
Yeah.
What if it's like a Jesse's girl thing? What if it's your boy's new girlfriend and you're totally in love with her?
Yeah. And it's kind of like they're going out and they're doing all this stuff and that's the best day I never had.
Yeah. Just like Jesse's girl. Yeah.
It could be that for sure. Yeah, he's with her right now and today is the best day I never had.
Ooh.
It could be watching her getting married, right? That's the best day I never had.
Who did that with the Marry Me?
Marry Me, Thomas Rhett.
Yeah. Like, that was so clever.
She wants to get married. She just don't want to marry me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a twist at the end. Mm-hmm. Like, at least in the video, because he ends up with her.
Oh, he ends up with her?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, he didn't in the song. Let's see.
You don't know.
In the song, though,
you don't know
clear.
In the song.
Oh, yeah, you do. She just don't want to marry me. Yeah, she wants to get married and all this stuff, and she's on the back of the church.
That's what he feels like. I think, like, in the video, they twist it because he ends up like at a diner with her. Like, she's in a wedding dress. She took off.
Oh, really? Okay, yeah, it's not in the lyric.
Yeah.
So it's cool that they twist it for the video. Because he's Thomas Rhett. He has to get the girl.
This is his show. It's like 007. You can't kill 007. It's his movie.
No, it's his movie. Exactly. It's Thomas Rhett. You got to get the girl. Let's see. You felt bad when you heard the song. You'll feel better when you watch the video. If you put enough tempo on that, then you can say all kinds of sad, negative things and kind of get away with it a little bit more. Mm-hmm. If it's a ballad and you're looking at all this regret, well, that's just really painful, right?
Right.
But, if you put some tempo, some groove, then you can get away with a little bit more. Let's see. What else could we do with the best day I never had? So you got I don't want to look back and say that's the best day I never had. You got my buddy, Jesse's girl. They're going out and boy, that looks like the best day I never had. Maybe you can get away with the bad thing that didn't happen. It was the best day I never had. Like, it was the best thing that didn't happen.
I mean, I like the idea of, like, the friends, they all go out. You decide not to go with them because they've been drinking and driving, but you're loaded too.
Yeah.
And then they end up wrapping a car around a tree.
Yeah. And they never played ball again, and you did. You know, that kind of thing. It could be, like, thank God for the bullet I missed, right? Or the girl I didn't get. Like, I saw us getting married and stand in front of the church. Whew, that was the best day I never had. Because I didn't end up with her because now I can be with you. Yeah. New love interest. So maybe that's another way of going, like, I had these dreams, these plans, ended up being the best day I never had. Like, you didn't get what you thought you wanted because now looking back in retrospect, you see that what you wanted was not the best thing for you. Yeah. And now that you got the thing, you're so thankful. It's unanswered prayers. It's Garth Brooks' unanswered prayers, right?
There you go.
So it's... Yeah, you're with the girl now, and you look at this other girl going, at high school, I would have given anything to go to prom with her. I had the tux all ready to rent. She was going to look great, and she ended up dumping me, whatever, and it was the best day I never had. Or maybe he was going to propose to her kind of thing.
Yeah,
like he had the prom,
ring.
Like all high school, juiced up, ready to go. And thank God that didn't happen now. It was the best day I never had.
Oh,
16, like I got my car, I got a fake ID. I'm 16, but I'm 21 on my new fake ID. And it's on tonight. And something happened. I got grounded. I didn't go. And it probably saved my life or my buddies.
Best day I never had. Okay. Hold on before I forget about this. So, because you can't do, looking back to high school thing at the football game with Garth Brooks on Answer Prayers. I guess this would age you because it involves a kid or something. But what if you're telling your daughter who's had her first breakup and who's devastated about the best day you never had?
Yeah.
And it's like a love story, but it wasn't your mom.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that could be like an interesting twist on
That could be. Yeah. And I wonder if there's a way to make that third person where
that way anybody can sing it.
That way anybody can sing it. And he said, that's the best day I never had.
Yeah.
That sort of thing.
Just to put some perspective on them, like that first breakup, which is just devastating. Yeah. And you think the world's going to end. You're not going to live through it when you're in high school.
Yeah. I mean, a simpler version of that, just the singer going, now that I have you. And hopefully the value in that for the listener who's maybe going through that heartache is going, okay, maybe that's me 5 years from now. I just got dumped and I feel bad. But hey, Eric Church is singing this. He's okay. He got dumped. And now maybe I'll be okay too.
Yeah.
There's some hope in there. So there's some definite like value for the listener, like service in there. I'm going back to the regret thing. I'm not sure what other angles we have. I'm just trying to think of what modifiers you put on the beginning or end of that. That's the best day I never had yet. That wasn't the best day I never had. That could have been the best day I never had. Could have been. Maybe I dodged that bullet. Like, oh, we almost didn't make it here to the altar or holding our kid. We almost didn't make it here on the sunset with this ring. Man, this could have been the best day I never had. Like if I kept screwing up or if we didn't make it.
Because the Lord was tempting you. That vixen, Jessica Rabbit, comes in. And
the Lord was not tempting me. Malowens was tempting me. So it wasn't the Lord in heaven. It was somewhere further south. But that could have been a thing. Like this could have been the best day I never had. Like this, in this moment, girl, if we hadn't stuck it out.
Oh, and you're just talking about all the things maybe that you got through.
Me and you right now in the moment, girl, sitting on this beach. This could have been the best day I never had. If you hadn't stuck with me, if we hadn't worked this stuff out, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
This could have been the best day I never had. And so what you're saying is this is the best day I've ever had.
Yeah.
So it's super positive.
And you could that could be the spin at the end, but it turns out it's the best day I've ever had.
I think you kind of get that for free. Like saying it's the best day, but I could have not had it. We could have missed this. Like we hadn't stuck it out. That
one word change in the chorus though. Like it's always, best day I never had, the best day I never had, the best day I never had, the best day I've ever had.
Yeah, you could do that for sure. Yeah. And you could almost vamp out on that answer, but it's the best day I've ever had. Yeah. Kind of instead.
That's some good looks at it, man.
Yeah. So there we go.
It's pretty and right out of the box.
I hope part of what you get from this is going, wow, look how much more commercial it can be if you take what looks like a negative title and spin it to something positive. If you can refine it down to something that's simple without being simplistic, that the listener can get on the first listen, like understand what we're talking about, where it's easily digestible, then you come out with something that's hopefully fresher.
Yeah.
And still more positive, which is in general much more commercial.
Yeah, I like it. All right, guys. If Joel wants to complete this song with you in private, what can he do?
Yeah, so I do songwriter coaching. I give song feedback. I do coach writing. Basically, I can help you repair your song. I can help you prepare your song, answer your questions about the art, craft, and business of songwriting. Kind of, I am at your service. You can see my calendar, get all the details, and book a session at songwritingpro.com/coaching. That's songwritingpro.com/coaching. And I'm going to help you write your best songs yet.
There you go, guys. That brings us to the end of another killer song title challenge. Send your song titles in to info@daredevilproduction.com. Production is singular. There is no S. Make sure you put song title challenge in the subject line so it gets into the right folder. And we'll see in a couple of weeks on that. This podcast exists because we want you to win. So keep on climbing.
And we'll see you at the top.
Song title challenge.